So an example of one of the labs that we would have in our sprinkler class would be to understand the distribution of what a sprinkler head, how it distributes water, as well as how it operates through some sort of a heat source. So what we would often do is evaluate the physical conditions of an individual sprinkler head as it's installed. In that lab environment, we still use technology heavily. We go on our smartphones to record the technical data about one individual sprinkler head. So all of the learning we're doing is not through a library of printed materials. It's as current as what's on the manufacturer's websites. But we will go through the process of identifying whether this has been installed correctly, as well as do a reference check to see how this sprinkler will distribute water in relation to other objects. Because the performance and the success of a sprinkler system is all relative to how well it distributes water, how early and how well it distributes water. So we have a cross-section of different light fixtures and regularly have students working with measuring tapes to be able to understand the relationship between an obstruction and a sprinkler head. And that is such a tangible skill to have, especially if you're in the world of being a fire prevention officer or an inspector or a consultant. 3 major areas within our program. You practice the skills in an academic environment that you would have to use in industry. So there's not, you might need this skill. You're being taught by subject matter experts that we have on staff, and by going through the arrangement of understanding how this could be an interference, as well as understanding the differences with the performance criteria of different types of sprinkler heads, when we can identify the relationship of how far down this is, how far apart they are from one another, we get a very good idea about how that distribution and how they're related to each other. And that's one lab in one class, and we have an opportunity to be in this wonderful space for at least 6 separate courses. So that learning continues to build and build and build, where there's a lot of content, it's a lot of techie stuff, but you're being brought into it at a very gradual pace and you're seeing things work. So we're not just going through this idea of the book says be 5 feet away, the book says to be 2 meters away. We'll actually have an idea of why, because we will have seen it. And at certain times, we actually do like a Mythbusters version, where we will purposefully put things much closer than they're allowed to be. And we'll understand that the consequences of a bad installation and then change it to what we're allowed to do. And we'll see how, when done properly, things will work properly. It makes sense. When you can see it, you'll understand that relationship.